Salutations, welcome to another video. Today I'm sharing a self-portrait I worked on back in April of 2023. This is the first self-portrait I ever made for myself of my own volition. Before that, I'd made a few for art class. I'm sure if you've ever taken an art class, they made you draw yourself. It's one of those classic projects you can expect along with random object still lives. So I've made at least half a dozen in the past, but this is the first for me. It's also the first digital. In the past, I used everything from charcoal, graphite, acrylics, and even watercolors. I used to be pretty comfortable with charcoal and graphite, so some of those projects turned out pretty good, but this is by far the best one I've ever done. And that makes a lot of sense when you think about it, because the last time I made one was at least 2 years before I drew this, so I would hope this is the best. This is really fun to look at right now because the first piece I'm making in 2025 is also a self-portrait. I decided this year to start a new tradition. I'm going to draw a self-portrait every year from now on. I didn't end up drawing one in 2024, but I think it's a good exercise to see how my skills have improved and also to see how I've changed physically. I don't think I've changed much physically since 2 years ago, other than having different glasses, but over time it should be cool to see. I've seen other artists who do something similar, where they redraw the same piece every year to see how they've improved. I thought that was such a good idea, and it's so cute to show them in order every year. Regarding the footage, you'll notice it changes from a smaller crop in the beginning to the full Photoshop window in a bit. I recorded the first half of this on stream, and then finished screen recording it later on my own. I cropped the part I streamed because there are quite a few overlays that move and pop up that can be a bit distracting. If you want to see my Twitch setup, you can join me over there 3 times a week, see what I'm currently working on. My streaming setup is extremely different to how it looked when I was working on this. I took the whole month of January 2024 off streaming so I could update everything and bring the quality of my assets up to my standards. I'm still always tweaking things, but I've been really happy with it for the past year, and I don't have any plans to change it. Also, by the time you're seeing this, I have almost definitely finished working on the self-portrait for 2025, so go ahead and check out my socials if you want to see how that turned out. It's taking a little long for me to wrap it up because I'm still getting used to Krita. I decided this year I'm not going to renew my Photoshop subscription and I'm switching over. I have a lot of issues with Photoshop and I could talk about that for a while, but mainly the high price point and especially their use of AI. Talking about AI can get me pretty riled up, so long story short, I don't feel comfortable using them anymore and I'm moving to Krita. It's a free open source software and the interface is very similar to Photoshop. Not exactly the same, hence me being slower and my self-portrait taking weeks to finish, but I'm liking it so far. The only thing I don't like is that the eraser is connected to the brush you're using. It's a little hard for me to get used to that. Sometimes it can be nice and convenient, but overall it's a bit of a pain right now. I think after I get used to it, I won't have too many problems with it though. The times where I'm able to remember and my workflow is smoother, it's a pretty nice experience. The rest is just learning the hotkeys, which I'm already picking up pretty quickly. But I'm getting off topic, none of that is about this piece. Like I mentioned before, the crop of the video changes because I switched from working on stream to working on my own. If I remember correctly, I was having a hard time with the shading on the skin. I was rounding everything out too much, and the harsh contrast I was building was creating a plastic effect. It made the piece look too smooth and airbrushed. So I ended the stream and rested my eyes for a bit. Sometimes I forget to do that, but overall when I'm not liking the direction a drawing is going, I'm getting a lot better at taking a step back and giving myself time to process away from the piece. I'd say at least half the time. When I come back, I'm able to pick out what I didn't like, and I'm able to problem solve and move forward with a better result. I mentioned in my last video that I was a little bit apprehensive to put mistakes or flaws on a public platform for everyone to see, so I did contemplate leaving the part where I shaded on stream out of the video. You can see how the shading just disappears because I had to start over completely when I realized what my problems were. But I really like to see when artists I admire and learn from make mistakes. I think it's good that we all share those moments with each other. I think sometimes I can get embarrassed because I don't want people to know that I can sometimes struggle with something that I've been doing over a decade, but it's more important to me that I know that I failed on the first attempt and continued trying until I got where I wanted. Failing on the first attempt is what stopped me from trying more creative things when I was younger, and if I'm unwilling to show when it happens to me, I can't expect other people to do the same thing. So I left it in. I don't know if it'll help anybody, but it makes me feel better knowing the whole process is in there. Because it is part of the process. I wouldn't have gotten to the end result if I hadn't messed up in the first place. I needed to learn what not to do in order to get the results I wanted. Every time I mess up and panic, I repeat that clip in my head of the person saying, "I am once again shocked to find that the process of trial and error does indeed include error." Which, so true. It helps me realize the necessity of the errors. It makes me laugh when I'm getting frustrated or scared. A little more about this piece in general. I used the reference picture for this because it was the only picture of myself from that year that I liked. Most of the other pictures I liked of myself have a mask covering half of my face, and while that would be a very creative way to avoid doing half the work, I did actually want to have the bottom half of my face also be visible. I also tried to bring in a lot more colors than were originally in the portrait. My favorite color is pink, and I'm wearing pink eyeshadow and lip gloss in the reference, but I wanted to make sure to saturate it and add it to the background. And while pink is my favorite color, I generally like all colors. I love a good rainbow, so I tried to include as many colors as I could in the portrait as well, especially to the glasses because they're able to reflect so many different colors. Overall, my focus in art is on bright colors. I can't help but boost the saturation when I'm working. I've been known to tone it down now and then, but give me free rein, you'll find me adding at least 5 color dodge layers. And after the colors, the second most important part of this would be the texture. That was the main issue with the first render. The skin texture looked like plastic, so I made sure to go back over the skin at the end with a more textured brush this time to roughen it up a bit, lose the airbrush effect. I really like how it worked, and I used a similar technique in this year's portrait too. I really love how this piece turned out, and I hope you did too. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you all next time. Bye!